In the heart of a small forgotten town, nestled amongst overgrown trees and crumbling buildings, there stood an old house that everyone avoided. It was a house with a dark history, and the townspeople whispered stories of its haunting. The locals knew to stay far away, but curiosity often got the best of some. One brave soul, named Thomas, couldn't resist the allure of the decrepit house. He had heard the tales of strange noises and eerie apparitions, and he felt an irresistible pull towards the abandoned place. Late one moonlit night, Thomas decided to venture into the old house, accompanied by his trusty flashlight and an anxious heart. The creaking floorboards welcomed him as he stepped inside, causing him to pause momentarily to gather his courage. As he explored the shadowy rooms, he couldn't shake the feeling that unseen eyes were watching his every move. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, and Thomas's heart pounded in his chest. In one corner of the house, he stumbled upon an ancient portrait hanging crookedly on the wall. The face in the painting seemed to follow him, its eyes piercing through his soul. Thomas tried to shake off the unease and continued his exploration. As he climbed the rickety stairs, he heard soft whispers echoing in the hallway. He stopped in his tracks, straining to decipher the eerie murmurs. Goosebumps formed on his skin, and he felt an invisible force urging him to turn back. Ignoring the warning signs, Thomas pressed on, driven by a morbid curiosity that clouded his judgment. He reached the top floor, and there, at the end of the dimly lit corridor, he saw a faint glimmer of light beneath a closed door. His heart pounding, Thomas approached the door, and with trembling hands, he pushed it open. What he saw inside left him paralyzed with fear. The room was filled with flickering candles and a strange array of objects, symbols of an unknown ritual. As he stood frozen in the doorway, the candles seemed to dance with an otherworldly energy. A chilling wind swept through the room, blowing out the candles one by one until darkness enveloped everything. Then, a voice whispered from the shadows, sending shivers down Thomas's spine. "You should not have come here." He turned to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping him inside. Panic gripped him, and he frantically searched for an escape route, but the walls seemed to close in on him. Suddenly, a figure materialized before him, a spectral form that emanated malevolence. It was the ghost of the house, seeking retribution for the intrusion. Thomas screamed for help, but his voice was drowned out by the haunting wails that echoed through the house. He felt an icy grip on his shoulder, and he knew he was no longer alone. In a desperate bid to escape, Thomas pushed through the oppressive darkness and found a hidden trapdoor. With trembling hands, he pried it open and descended into the cold, damp cellar. As he shut the trapdoor above him, the house fell silent once more. He stayed in the cellar, praying for daylight and an end to the nightmare. When dawn finally broke, Thomas emerged, shaken and pale, vowing never to speak of the horrors he encountered. From that day on, the old house stood abandoned, a chilling reminder of the malevolent spirits that lurked within. The townspeople respected its haunted reputation, leaving it to decay in solitude, as a warning to those who dared to venture where darkness dwelled. It was a cold, moonless night in late October when a group of us decided to venture into the depths of an abandoned asylum. The old building had long been rumored to be haunted, and as thrill seekers, we couldn't resist the temptation to explore its eerie halls. Our group consisted of 6 friends, each with a mixture of excitement and apprehension etched on our faces. We parked our cars a distance away from the asylum, not wanting to draw any unnecessary attention. Armed with flashlights, we set off on foot, traversing through the overgrown path that led us to the ominous structure. As we approached the asylum, an overwhelming sense of foreboding surrounded us. The building stood tall and imposing, with cracked windows that seemed to peer into our souls. It was once a place of healing, but now it exuded an aura of despair. "I can't believe we're doing this," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "Don't worry, it's just an old building. Nothing to be afraid of," Mark replied, attempting to sound brave. With shaky steps, we entered through a broken side door. The air inside was heavy and filled with the musty smell of decay. The walls were covered in layers of peeling paint, and the floors creaked beneath our weight. We felt like intruders in a forgotten realm. Our flashlights cast eerie shadows on the walls as we explored the asylum's labyrinthine corridors. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of our own breathing and the occasional distant screech of an owl. As we ventured deeper, we stumbled upon a large, decrepit hall that must have once been a communal area for the patients. The room was littered with old furniture, remnants of a forgotten past. Strange symbols were etched onto the walls, adding to the unsettling ambience. A sense of restlessness enveloped us, and we began hearing faint whispers emanating from the shadows. Our hearts raced as we tried to dismiss them as mere tricks of the mind. "I think I heard something," Mark said, his voice tense. "It's probably just the wind," I reassured him, even though I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. With a newfound determination, we pressed on, exploring room after room. Some areas were surprisingly well preserved, like time capsules from the past. In contrast, others had fallen victim to decay, their walls crumbling and ceilings threatening to collapse. In one room, we found a collection of old patient files scattered across the floor. Curiosity got the better of us, and we began reading snippets of the patients' tragic stories. Their struggles, once hidden away, now lay exposed to the world. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed through the hallway, making us jump. We shone our flashlights towards the source of the noise, revealing nothing but darkness. Fear nodded us, and we decided it was time to leave. As we retraced our steps back towards the exit, we noticed strange symbols spray-painted on the walls. It looked like someone had been conducting rituals in the abandoned asylum, heightening our unease. The feeling of being watched intensified as we moved through the shadows. Every creak and distant whisper felt like a malevolent presence haunting our steps. A sudden gust of wind extinguished one of our flashlights, plunging us into darkness. Panic set in as we struggled to reignite the light. When it flickered back to life, we saw a figure standing in front of us. A chilling scream pierced the air as we all scrambled backward. It took a moment for us to realize that the figure was just an old man, probably another curious explorer like us. His eyes held a haunted look, and he warned us to leave immediately. "This place is cursed," he muttered. "Get out while you still can." Without another word, he disappeared into the shadows, leaving us even more spooked. Fearful of what we might encounter next, we hurriedly made our way back to the exit. As we approached the broken side door we had entered through, a blood-curdling howl echoed through the asylum. Panic set in as we fumbled with the door, desperate to escape the horrors within. Finally free, we sprinted back to our cars, not daring to look back. The night's events had taken their toll, leaving us shaken and terrified. We vowed never to return to the haunted asylum, content to leave its secrets buried in the darkness. Years have passed since that chilling night, but the memory remains vivid in our minds. The abandoned asylum continues to stand, its haunted halls waiting for the next brave souls foolish enough to enter. But for us, the asylum's secrets will forever remain locked away, a terrifying reminder of the darkness that lurks in forgotten places.